Hey guys, so I've decided to kind of put together a free brush or maybe a free brush pack for Procreate. I think I'll probably include all the brushes I used in this painting, but I honestly feel like it's probably just two brushes. Now I want the packs. I'm not gonna make any of them to buy. They're all gonna be free. Just because I've been using Procreate for a year solid, and for a year solid, I didn't really like how it felt painting. I've had a few different brushes I've used for different things, but they weren't very versatile. I feel like this brush is a bit more versatile. I feel like this brush is best for everything. It's good for serious paintings, it's good for speed paintings, it's good for sketching, it's good for everything. So, you know, the reason I call it a gouache brush is because in reality, gouache is kind of utilized similarly to this. It's kind of a very thick paint that you apply in a thick way, and that's how I want this brush to be applied. The painting that I kind of wanted to do here it took 30 minutes, and it's essentially a monk doing some praying. It just came out, it just decided it wanted to be what that. It wasn't me that made that conscious decision straight the way. It was kind of, I started sketching, and then the monk is what kind of showed up. These processes are interesting, because this gouache brush, literally, I just kind of like discovered it. I had another brush that it was a customized version of one of the presets, and it was similar, but it wasn't the same as it is now. I did a little bit of tweaking to it. I changed the brush preset to like a Photoshop brush preset, the actual tip preset. I changed it to the Photoshop chalk brush, and if you're familiar with the Photoshop chalk brush, you'll see it when you download the brush. And magic, it just came out being this very interesting gouache brush. Now it does have pressure sensitivity on its size, but its pressure sensitivity and its opacity is quite low, and that's kind of how I like it to be, quite thick painty, and that was the whole idea behind the brush. To be fair, I've noticed that during painting processes, as an artist and as someone that's drawn digitally now for 10 years, I will say this: for me, the process of painting is a lot easier when you are using fixed strokes, because how you kind of start out painting digitally, very your opacity very controlled by pressure sensitivity, by the brush, by the pen pressure. It just takes away from your process. In reality, outside of the digital realm, you would, for the most part, be utilizing solid paint when you paint, or you'd be interacting with liquids that are reactive. This way, when you use this brush, at least you're using solid paint, and that's the big thing. And the brush strokes are quite unpredictable because of the way I've set the brush up. So it's interesting to see what kind of like marks you can make with this brush. So here you can see me kind of going in, and I'm trying to kind of convey some kind of a background. I'm not trying to be too detailed. I have my tricks. I think every artist develops tricks when they get to a certain, art age. I feel like if you ever watched The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross, I think Bob Ross's whole process was tricks. And I think that had people kind of thinking like, whoa, because there's a lot of tricks we can use in art. So literally, I kind of made some shapes over the top of the rocks, and it kind of looks like there's kind of like crevices and cracks and frontal areas and shadow, whereas in reality I just kind of indicated that those things may exist. Now I'm going into the back and I'm adding some clouds, some overlapping clouds with like yellow seeping through, just because I want to somehow convey that there's a rim light around this character. Now I don't really know where the light source is. It could be the top of him, quite honestly, because the rim light seems to be coming from the top of the clouds. But I didn't really think about it too much. I just wanted him to be backlit to a degree and have like strong cast shadows at the front. I didn't really even focus too much on anything else. I didn't even, at the end of the painting, I didn't even give too much time to how his hands are placed, because for me this was completely a speed painting. I just wanted to kind of go through the process and try and create an image that was, you know, compelling to me, but without it being so super serious. And I wanted to showcase this brush because I pretty much used a gouache brush for the entire process. Excuse me. Now, what I will say is this. At the end, I did use some airbrush, but that's pretty much it. And there is a default airbrush in Procreate, but if you guys want the airbrush, I'll just include it in the brush pack. You know, and I'm probably going to make another one of these videos pretty soon with a different brush, just because I kind of want to make videos to showcase each brush as I use them and showcase the, you know, the advantages and disadvantages of the brush. Now, people have said for years, how useful are custom brushes? And let's be honest, if they weren't useful, nobody would use them. They are useful. They add to your workflow, but you have to understand how to use them and what reason artists use them for. I used to just want everyone's brushes for no reason. Now I only want people's brushes when I genuinely think it can add to my process, because I have my own process, I have my own ideas, I have my own pieces I want to make. And a brush in the digital world, especially in Photoshop or Procreate, applications that don't really blend colors that well, not yet anyway. Oh, by the way, let me just, you know, butt in on myself. Check me adding that light. And this was, for me, this was a high point because I really didn't spend time on those rocks. And I'm not trying to say they look amazing, but that wasn't their purpose. Their purpose was to just be there and be relatively convincing. But anyway, brushes in the digital world equate to different art mediums. One brush can seem acrylic, one brush can seem like it's an oil paint, one brush can seem like it's gouache. And for the most part, in my opinion, I think digital brushes, when they're high opacity, seem very gouachy, because gouache doesn't blend the same way oils blend. Gouache blends by kind of like going on top of the paint that's underneath it, and you blend gouache by value and hue changes, subtle value and hue changes, or even drastic value and hue changes. But it wouldn't be the same as oils, where you can get a complete and utter oily blend. And that is the separation to me between gouache, oil, watercolor, all of these things. You know, I think it still blends better than acrylic, but it just doesn't blend the same way. And I think it's definitely more opaque than acrylic to paint with on like artist board and stuff like that. But I don't think it's that good at kind of doing flowy blending. But I like the way gouache looks in the end. And that was my point. You kind of get something that looks painterly when you do things this way. You know, not supremely kind of like, oh my god, look at all the blending. But if I wanted to, I could have probably made this brush the smudge tool and see how it went. And that might be something I do next video. I might do another gouache paintbrush video. I might make some variations on this gouache brush and see how it looks. But for now, it was just a process that I wanted to kind of try. You know, I wanted to hammer home that, you know, you don't need that many brushes either. You can use one brush for everything. And I hope that people find this brush and use it for the simple fact that I want people to be, getting off to the races with this Procreate stuff. I want people to feel like they're able to create, you know, because for me, I felt restricted for so long. And now I've started creating my own brushes, I'm feeling less and less restricted. And it's so strange because for about a year since the new iPad Pro launched, the 2018 version launched, and it's strange because 2019 is almost over. But when the 2018 version launched last November, it was about this time, to be fair. I think I've probably had it a year now or something like that. When it launched, I really didn't really like the way it felt to paint on. Literally, I spent a lot of time just doing cell shading because I didn't think you could paint that well in Procreate. And then voila, all of a sudden now, I'm just painting. But that's not thanks to this brush. That's because I made myself a default round brush, and I was living that brush, and then I switched over to the gouache brush. But anyway, we're coming to the end of this painting. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you download the brush. I hope you have lots of fun with it. You know, I hope that it's everything you thought it would be. And if you have any issues or any problems, just let me know. we can have a conversation about it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.